Right, here we go. We're going to put this hub together. I've just dumped it onto the stub axle and made sure the stub axle was perfectly parallel. The bearings are nice, and I'm going to put a new washer on. Now you'll probably notice that for some reason I think I got the wrong part number, but these are bigger ones. These are off the later Land Rovers. I don't know why they made them so big, probably to keep the grease in. They function exactly the same as the small ones, which are that big. You see what I mean? I can't see the reason of changing them, but that's Land Rover for you. Now, so we're going to put that on there and push the bearing nice and tight inside. Now, we need to fit the hub nuts. Not hub nut with his Invercar. The kit, for some reason, only comes with one locking nut, but I've managed to salvage an old hub nut which will do the job. Now, I know a lot of people are saying you were taught not to do this, but if you can see here, I've faced it on the side of the grinder. I've just touched it on the side of the big grindstone and polished it up, and same as the edges here, because let's see if I've got one in my pocket. See, what people do when they're animals, they don't use a socket and they pull it off with a chisel, you see, or they put them on with a chisel. Look at that. Now you need this to be nice and parallel, which is why you cut it on the side of the grinder. So what we're going to do, I'm going to fit the new hub nut on the inside. I bet you I forgot to bring the hub nut spanner. I thought I'd do this in one shot. The shipping for these parts has been horrendous. This car's been on my lift for 2 weeks. That's why I didn't do anything else to it. You know, I didn't have any bearings or anything. I couldn't put it outside. It was really bad. They feel really nice actually. Let me go and get the hub nut back again. So, old trick. Bit of grease on the outside. Turn this till it's a little bit tight. Like I say, this will settle the bearings. Right, spin it. Oh, that's catching on the that's catching on this back plate here. Yeah, don't worry about that. Right, back it off, and then with a bit of luck, tighten it down. Just using your hands round the spanner. That's all it needs. That's all it needs. It's lovely, that. Some people get all excited about turning it back 90 degrees and doing that and doing this, that, the other. No need. Bit of grease on the washer. This is to aid friction. You know, when we're going to, well, get rid of friction, should I say. When we put the other nut on. Pick our nut. Now we're going to pick the best side of this nut, even though I've ground it off. So the nice flat side goes to the tab washer. Screw it on. And then grabbing our torque wrench, where we go to, I think it's 61 Newton meters, or in that region. It's not that particularly tight. You know, people flog them up with hammers and chisels and stuff. What we're up to there, I really must get myself a new torque wrench. I've had this so long I can't read it now. All that needs, that's all it's going to get. Next we bend over the tab washers. Use a little pry bar to get it started on that side. That's easy enough. Hammer, and just set it down like that, and then the opposite side, fold it over the inner nut. So you want one tab washer going that way and one going that way, if you see what I mean. So it locks into the, you know, and that's basically it. That's really it. That's all you have to do. Now, for some strange reason, I put the flange down at the bottom. I'll go and get the flange and we'll put the flange on. So I've got the flange there. I've got some grease in there, and I've got lots of grease on that spline. I have no problems there. The bearing's nicely packed with grease. I'm going to put some grease on this gasket just to help it soften a bit. That's why we put grease on gaskets, is to soften it, soften the paper, and then any imperfections it will grab, if you see what I mean. It's easy to make indentations, so if you have machining marks it'll just grab into those and grab onto the gasket, if you sort of see what I mean. I think I'm getting a heat stroke here. It's been a wild week of temperature. In fact, it's been a wild month. What is it now? It's May, isn't it? On the 8th of May we had snow. Yesterday it was 30 degrees, no, 35 degrees yesterday with 57% humidity. It was kind of like being in Darwin again. Now, the holes for the hub I've already washed out with brake cleaner in here, and I've already blown them out with a deep gun that goes in here, if you see what I mean. So that goes into there, and I've blown them out for the simple reason that our new bolts that we're going to fit, not that, where we put them? Oh, they're over here. Already have Loctite on them. They come with a kit, a nice piece of thing, nice thing to have. If you've just got plain ordinary bolts, then you can just use Loctite, but providing that you clean off the if you clean off the grease and the oil, because if you put Loctite in with when it's greasy and oily, it's not going to work very well. So I'll fit those bolts and then I'll torque them down. Right, so I've got the bolts in. I've started to torque them down, but I thought I'll do them again. 65 Newton meters. That was one I did already. And then working in an opposite fashion, one. And just go around them again. Make sure they're all nicely clicked down. Some people put these in with guns and they put them in so tight they snap the bolts off. They need a severe spanking. Right, the next thing, oh, I better have never brought it out. We need to pull the shaft out. Put that red grease up there. Using our handy CV pulling tool available off the shop at the end of the video. And we've got the old shims. And is there another shim? No. I'll have to go and get myself back again. So I've got the shim on. I just wanted to show you the difference between a good circlip and a bad one. I'll start with this one. There's the one we took off, and this is the one that's going back on. You see the difference? This one's been overstretched and it's springy. Kaput. Circuit pliers at hand. Just about right. It could do with a couple of thou shim in that, but I think it's going to be alright. If you haven't, as I mentioned once before, if you haven't got that shim in, the shaft can go in and out and it can start to chew away at the housing inside, which is not good, but that's going to be good, believe me. It's a nice one. Next thing, I'm going to get some grease on the cap. grease that up. The action of putting grease into this cap will actually force even more grease into the spline. I've been toying with an idea about putting a grease nipple in the front of here. I thought it would be an excellent idea. I don't know why they haven't done it though, so maybe it's for aesthetics. But if you had a grease pointed in, every now and again you could grease it and grease the spline. I mean, what could go wrong? Right, let me get my gun and we'll fasten that down. Perhaps this isn't the trusted way to put these caps on. But I can't think of any other way to tighten it up because I haven't got a spanner. So your hub nut spanner will just to say rattle those down. They don't have to be monster tight. But then again, they don't want to come off, do they? Next thing, I've already tightened the hose back onto here and we're going to fit the caliper. Again, I've already washed the bolt holes out. You can't see it, but believe me, I have. And where's the caliper? Here it is. Oh, the caliper's on. Well, it isn't on, but it will be in a minute. Oh, wait a minute, put the brake pipe under there like that. A bit fiddly because I'm trying to do it with the pipe. I'm trying to do it with the pipe on, which makes it awkward. Right, I'll go and get some Loctite. We'll put the torque wrench set at 82 Newton meters. We're going to tighten up the caliper bolts. So that's quite easy to do. Get into there. That's that done. Remember, always back off your torque wrench. Right. Sit that down somewhere. Next thing, I'm going to connect the brake hose back up. Bring it over. It might have got a bit bent in removal, but not too bad. And put the nut on, and then we'll get a 1/2 inch or 13mm key to tighten that up, holding the flexible pipe with a 17 at the same time. By holding the flexible pipe with a 17mm key, you'll prevent it moving when you tighten up the nut, because you don't want to twist the pipe. Now, I don't know if it's on these, but a lot of hydraulic pipes have got a stripe on them, and that's to signify that it has a potential twist in it. So if the stripe should be straight, the run of the pipe should be straight, so that's what the line's for. Now if you've got any twists in it, the line will go like a spiral, because that's what makes the pipes short-lived, if you see what I mean, or something like that. So we tighten these up. Wait a minute, there we go. That's nice and tight. And then we can release the clamp for the flexible hose. And if you go, oh, where are you going? Come here. And then we'll get we'll bleed out the brake. Now fortunately these pipes are the original pipes with the original curve on. If you're going to fit replacement pipes, you're going to make your own up. Turn the steering backwards and forwards to make sure that these pipes aren't going to hit the suspension. You know, they have to be pretty tight because it almost doubles back on itself. Anyway, that's that. So we're just going to simply crack off the brake bleeder, open it up. Now you can't really see this very well. I don't know if you can see if I put my finger over the end. What we're doing was we're looking for bubbles, but you know, there you can see the fluid running out there, running quite freely. I can't see any bubbles. The thing is, it's quite easy to gravity bleed some Defenders. You know, this vehicle really could do with a brake fluid change. I might just do it later. See what the owner says. That's good. Because we clamped the pipe, there was no fluid coming down this way, but also, most importantly, air couldn't get out of the end of the pipe because it's like in a vacuum. You know, if we don't disturb it too much, it won't go anywhere. So that's that. Never tighten them up too much. Now, that's that done. Or is it? Look at straight at me. I've got bloody grease in my hand. I'm sweating like a pig as well. What we're going to do now, I'm going to fit the prop shafts this afternoon. We're going to go for dinner now. Fit the drive shafts. And then we're going to drop the car down, fit the wheels, lift it back up again with the wheels on because I'm too lazy to lift the wheels up. And then I'm going to set the stops for the wheels. We've done this once before in a video, but this one had a bent stud for the adjuster, so I don't know what the settings are. We don't want the wheels to hit the radius arms. So I'll do that all in this video, but first of all, lunchtime.